Larry Holmes in this fight. This is actually the lightest he has weighed in his comeback bid. And Ray Mercer, this is the heaviest he has weighed as a pro, perhaps getting ready for the bulk of Larry Holmes. And the big advantage for Holmes is the reach. 5-inch difference, and Larry Holmes feels that that's the advantage that can win the fight if he can get that jab going through 12 rounds. Sean, now how do you match these two up on the blackboard?
Former WBO heavyweight champion of the world, merciless Ray Mercer, jab controls this fight. Kill Larry's jab with a counter jab. Asian fighters like quickness, use speed, and set a busy pace. Ray send Larry Holmes to Easton asking for mercy. Former WBC and IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes, it is a battle of jabs. You've got one of the best in recent memories. Double your jab. Aging fighters say they can't get off, so start fast. Step right, but jab left. Rock and roll, guys!
42-year-old Larry Holmes starts his ring walk, an entrance he has made 56 times before. The first time nearly 19 years ago in a fight versus Rodell Dupree when Holmes earned $63 in his pro debut. Tonight he'll earn $1 million. Not his biggest purse, but at the age of 42 and after a 3-year retirement, he has no complaints. He reigned as champion for 7 years. Did not get his due and has let everyone know about it. He feels reclaiming the title in his 40s would finally secure him a place in boxing lore. Larry Holmes sparked by George Foreman's return. He came back last April, has won 5 fights, and he is hearing the boos from the crowd. This is Ray Mercer territory. Mercer from Newark, New Jersey. Tonight certainly a major step up in competition for the former champ, but he says if he can't beat Ray Mercer, it's time to quit. And you will be seeing Larry Holmes for the last time, says the former champ, if he can't get by Ray Mercer. Ray Mercer, the former Army sergeant, a late starter in the fight game. He won the Olympic gold at the age of 27. Doesn't have much time to waste. He's now 30 years old. He has won all 18 of his professional fights and has made up for the lost time because he has been involved in some ring wars in which he has come out shining, providing some dramatic knockouts. A one-punch knockout over Francisco Damiani and the devastation over Tommy Morrison in his last fight. He is building quite a reputation, a power-packed player for the dramatic, and he hears it from a partisan crowd. There's his dad, Raymond Mercer, cheering him on as Ray Mercer steps in the ring for the biggest fight in his pro career.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bob Arum's Top Rank Incorporated in association with the undisputed, undefeated King of Fears, Budweiser presents the featured bout of the evening. The 3 judges scoring this bout on a 10-point must system are John Potteray, Phil Newman, and Eugene Grant. And the man in charge once the bell rings is referee Steve Smoger. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino here on the boardwalk in Atlantic City, New Jersey, let's get ready to rumble! 12 rounds of boxing in the heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He weighed in at 233 pounds. Wearing the white trunks with red trim, his professional record, 53 victories, only 3 defeats, 37 KOs. He ruled the heavyweight division for 7.5 years as a heavyweight champion. Ladies and gentlemen, from Easton, Pennsylvania, the Easton Assassin and former heavyweight champion of the world, Larry And across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, his opponent wearing the white trunks with black trim and weighing 228 3/4 pounds. He's originally from Jacksonville, Florida, but now fights out of Newark, New Jersey. Ranked number 5 in the world by the IBF, this 1988 Olympic gold medal champion is now 18-0 as a professional with 13 KOs, and he has held the WBO world title in this division. Ladies and gentlemen, the undefeated, merciless Ray
want you to respect the bell, and I want you to protect yourself at all times. Now touch him up. Let's rock and roll. Let's go.
And a game face on Larry Holmes that we have not seen in the 5 fights of his comeback. Meanwhile, Ray Mercer playing to the partisan crowd. It's scheduled for 12. Mercer has given up his WBO heavyweight title, passed up #1 contender Michael Moore to get a $1 million shot at Larry Holmes. Holmes says he's going to stand in the middle of the ring with Mercer. Holmes has to get that jab going.
One of the best jabs in boxing, but you can see why. Watch him put that shoulder into that jab. He's got to use it, though. This jab in this first round, whoever controls the jab wins the fight.
Mercer has been known to absorb punishment early and let his opponent wear himself down. And at 42, Larry Holmes, Mercer feels is made to order in that respect. But Mercer is a little leery about the right hand, although he says he doesn't think Holmes can knock him out.
Dangerous words. You know, he says in this fight, it's going to be like a reverse of the Tommy Morrison fight. He's not going to stand there and take all those punches in the opening rounds of this fight. He's instead going to move, allow for Holmes to punch himself out and then come back.
Holmes using his first 5 fights. And he
right hand.
smacks Mercer with a right. That wakes Mercer up. And Holmes, who certainly with the long arms and reach, the tactics trying to hold. There is Mercer in the clinch. And he continues. There goes Holmes. Steve Smoger trying to get the clean. And I think the fight's going to break out.
And Smoger did a great job getting between these two.
And that really riled Mercer up.
Wake up call.
Holmes basing his confident feeling against Mercer on the fact that Mercer has had some difficulty with boxers. And Damiano, he went the distance with Kimio Odom 12 rounds and also the distance with Ozzy Acancio. And Holmes feels if he can get the jab going, but he has to get it going for 12 rounds, that he can outbox and tie up Mercer. He feels that Mercer, compared to some of the opponents he's had, that he is shaken up. And Mercer going in. Mercer, who is known to find an opening and go right in as Tommy Morrison.
And that's just why Larry Holmes should not stand flat-footed. He said that he was going to stand flat-footed and fight Mercer toe-to-toe. That's the wrong way to fight a big puncher like Mercer. Holmes has got a superior jab. He's got to use that and use his movement.
And he can't get out of that game.
Not at all. He cannot let down for 1 second. Here he is trading with Ray Mercer.
But you know, this is a good round for Mercer because he is making Holmes expend much more energy, I think, than Holmes wanted to in the first 3 minutes.
But in doing that, he has got to be careful that he doesn't get tagged. Larry still has got the heavyweight power. Both of these men do. There is the left again doing the damage to Holmes. The way that Holmes stands with his body vertical to Mercer, he's eating those left hooks.
Larry Holmes very slowly walking back to his corner after round 1. And a la George Foreman, well, for a moment, looked like he was going to stand up in between rounds, but Holmes thinking better.
Step to your right and keep your hands up. Get the jab off. Work it.
There is Don Turner giving him instructions. He is telling him to get the jab off. Here's that big left hook from Ray Mercer. Another look at it. The left hook did the damage. That was a jumping jab. Look at the feet cross from Larry Holmes. On top of him was Ray Mercer. Here it is again. Moving in with his jab is Mercer. I talked about the effective left jab that Holmes has. There's a good jab by Mercer. Little sloppy. Now, for Holmes, he should try to get Mercer out of the game. Make him mad. That will help an experienced fighter and hurt a young fighter.
That's what he did in the first round.
Right.
And he got in trouble for it.
But that's what he wants to do every round. If he can get back and control that jab.
Holmes says he'll challenge Mercer to get by his left. And Mercer got by his left in the first round.
And he also says that he does not believe that Mercer has got big power. Those are dangerous words. When you're fighting heavyweights, there's no question that Mercer's got power. And really both of these men. Not only Mercer, but Larry Holmes.
at the age of 42. Father of 5, 4 girls and 1 boy. His daughter Misty has 2 children, a boy and a girl. So it's grandfather Larry Holmes going up against Ray Mercer. Got a late start in this business and trying to make up for lost time. Matter of fact, Mercer, when he was learning to fight in the Army, his idol was then world champion Larry Holmes.
Good chopping right hand from Mercer. Where is that stinging left jab? Larry is going to have to make Mercer eat that left jab so Mercer's not walking right in. See how Ray is walking through the defense of Larry Holmes? And speaking of defense, the hands are down.
Holmes' hands are down.
You got to protect that body. I can understand that.
Well, his head is open for the right.
Well, you forget about that. Back to the left jab. The key to this fight is the jab.
As it turns out, Ray Mercer may be made to order for Larry Holmes, but the Larry Holmes of 10 years ago, when he was able to get the jab going and also had the great lateral movement and the quickness. Holmes has already admitted in his comeback fights that he stands in front of his opponent more. He just can't move around for 12 rounds, and the dangerous thing is to stand in front of Mercer.
But that was always his best weapon. He was terrific when he boxed around his opponent, and then the perfect moment he sat down and threw big combinations. Wow, good right hands from Larry.
Holmes unleashing.
But Ray trying to get Holmes to throw. He's trying to make him work.
Remember all the punishment absorbed by Ray Mercer in the first 3 rounds of the Tommy Morrison fight, and Morrison started running out of gas in the 4th. Mercer closed in early in the 5th. And Mercer's hopes are just to tire Holmes here. Let him punch himself out and then close in when Holmes is weary. Holmes say, come on in. And Holmes.
And there is why. You look at their bodies, it appears that Holmes has less fat on his body than Ray Mercer. Looks like Larry's in better shape than Ray. If you go by the body, there's more detail in Holmes' body.
Big right hands for Larry Holmes to end the set. Ray Mercer before has taken the great punishment. He has withstood it all, and he always finds a way to win. In his corner in between rounds, Hank Johnson telling him to go to the body of Holmes. Start the process of trying to wear him down. And look for Holmes' right hand. You see it there, how low it's dropped. And that may be the undoing of Holmes before this one is over. The hands of Holmes are down, and he's open upstairs to the big right of Mercer. Mercer turned pro in February of 1989. That was a year after Holmes lost in his first comeback to Mike Tyson. Holmes says this story is different. Against Tyson, he came back cold. He wasn't ready.
And you can see Larry setting that right hand up for Mercer, asking him to come in where Mercer can hit him with it.
Why is Holmes comfortable up against the ropes?
Because he can bounce off those ropes. When you're laying up against the ropes, it's easier on your legs. And when your legs get old, they get tired quickly. Now, Mercer must go back to that left hook. Remember how much damage he did with that in the opening round?
Holding off is Holmes. Mercer wants to tell Holmes, no effect. Remember, Mercer was outboxed for 8 rounds by Francisco Damiani. Outboxed badly, but then came up with a big punch in the 9th, and here is Holmes. All of a sudden, Holmes has some fans behind him. Rocking away upstairs, then downstairs, and Ray Mercer. Holmes at home in the corner. He's got the big 5-inch reach advantage.
And using those ropes, he's bouncing off those ropes. When he comes back off the bounce, he's throwing the right hand. Trying to get a little bit extra power from those ropes. Oh, a missing chopping right hand from Mercer. These right hands over on the top of the head are doing a lot of damage on Mercer. Those right hands, you can hit a man 15 times, and finally that 16th punch, you'll go down. You hit him in the same spot.
But Holmes here through 3 rounds, Sean. He's trying to slug with Mercer.
Trying to measure Mercer, too. Now Mercer's got to get back with that left hook.
30 seconds left. Holmes still holding onto the rope. for defensive purposes. But I still think Holmes playing into the hands of Mercer. This is 12 rounds scheduled, and Holmes now trying to slow it down by holding on. How much will he have left in the later rounds?
Larry Bird.
3 rounds down in the scheduled 12-rounder. And Larry Holmes has come out to fight. Very game and spirited in the first 3 rounds, exchanging with Ray Mercer, but that may be a strategic mistake on the part of the former world champion. And a matter of fact, just got a warning from his corner as he came out. Don't burn yourself out. And we may see Larry Holmes now, who has certainly put in the rounds, but Ray Mercer, in only those 79, fought his handful of wars, but certainly nothing to match the experience that Holmes has. As a matter of fact, when Holmes came in, he said, well, if he knocks me down, I've been there before. If he thumps me, I've been thumped before. If he hits me low, I've been hit low before. That there's nothing that Mercer can do to me that hasn't been done, but there's a lot of things I can do to him that he's never experienced. And now Steve Sloger steps between the two fighters.
Well, there was a headlock by Mercer and a little shove. Sloger didn't like it.
I could see Holmes kind of taking a rest here in the 4th round after expending so much in the first 9 minutes. He is backpedaling.
Remember what they told him between rounds, Al? They said, do not burn yourself out. Trying to maneuver around to buy some time. All this time he's away from Mercer. He's not going to get hit. Surprised to see that Mercer has not gone downstairs to the body. There is a roll of fat down there. Loose body down right above the cup. Right above the belt line. But Mercer has been content with going upstairs.
Mercer won the heavyweight title in the Olympics at 196. His last fight against Morrison, he was 225, and he's up to 228 3/4 for this one. Larry Holmes at 233, which for him is quite admirable, considering he started his comeback at 238 and has come down. He's trained hard for this. He won the title in 1978 against Ken Norton at 217. 35 seconds to go in the 4th. So Holmes pacing himself through the 4th round. Now knows he has 30 seconds here that he may want to turn it up.
Very smart fighter and an expert at that 3-minute clock, knowing when the final 10 seconds of a round is, and he tries to score. Now back in the corner. Remember that second round? How he laid back in that corner, this same corner, and scored. He was able to catch Ray Mercer with some right hands over the top. Here he is asking Mercer once again, come in here. I'm going to bounce off these ropes, and then I'm going to land a right hand.
Round number 5. Larry Holmes now dancing as he comes out for the 5th against the plotting Ray Mercer. Larry Holmes taking a different route in his comeback than George Foreman. Foreman 3 years working towards the Holyfield fight. Holmes not as patient. Had 5 fights, and he says, I'm ready to find out. That's why he's taking this fight against Ray Mercer. Also making $1 million for it. The vault swings open to the winner. Talk already of the winner of this fight going on in June to fight George Foreman.
There was a digging right hand to the body from Mercer.
Remember, this is the round. This is the time Mercer came out to finish off Tommy Morrison. And they start off slugging here in the 5th. There's the jab of Holmes.
Through the first 4 rounds, Larry looked good. He was watching it the first part of this round kind of like he used to do. But he's been content with laying up against those ropes, trying to play with the crowd a little bit. Now up against those ropes, you can lay against those ropes and press. It is an easier way to fight. And many times a smarter way to fight.
Holmes said that he considers Mercer a journeyman. Good punching power, good determination, but as far as boxing ability and experience, Holmes feels that Mercer is lacking, that he is somewhat limited.
He says if he gets you in trouble, he's good. But Ray thinks that I'll get tired, Larry says. Good fighter. But he also adds he doesn't have any skills. He's not thinking inside the ring. And you know what? Remember the first round, that big left hook that Mercer landed? We've not seen it since. That left hook almost knocked Holmes to the canvas.
Holmes, before the fight, said he was going to draw Mercer into the ropes to unleash his combination. Said he wanted to set some traps. Do you see any traps that he may be setting?
Well, I give him credit because he has stood toe-to-toe and fought with Mercer. He hasn't ran from him. He hasn't tried to put on any mask or do what he said he'd do, something other than what he said he'd do. So I give him credit. Although I think it's going to cause him some problem as we get later in this fight. Big, if it goes that long. Well, scoring well is Larry Holmes. Looking very impressive. Looking the 30 years old that Ray Mercer is. Mercer is confused here in this fifth round.
Of course, Mercer looking the 42 years old.
I wasn't going to say that. Here's a look at the action from that last round. Mercer continues to walk in, and he continues also to stay right at the wrong distance. 90% of the power of the punch is right on the end. That's what Mercer's saying. Now moving in and tying up would be a wise choice, especially when you're eating punches. Good showing from Larry Holmes. Taking a drink and not breathing extremely heavy in there. Watch him take deep breaths. Ray Mercer also not breathing heavy.
Go down. Let me help him up. Stay there. I'm going to help you up. Stay there.
5 rounds down. Larry Holmes coming out with a little more confidence. As we had mentioned before, in watching George Foreman's comeback, which was not star-studded until he stepped up in level. His first fight, stepping up at least for a big fight, was Jerry Cooney, and you could certainly see the intensity level rising in Foreman. And we're seeing the same thing as we had possibly anticipated before the fight with Larry Holmes. This is not the same Holmes we have seen in the first 5 fights when he was unable to take out an Eddie Gonzalez in an art card, but using that to sharpen his skills.
And he looks good here in these first 5 rounds. You know, you got to have somebody who's coming at you to make an exciting fight for Larry Holmes. Larry is, all his career, he's been a beautiful boxer. When he's in there against a boxer, it makes it difficult. Now, what he had to do is he had to get back into the mix of boxing and do it in a good fashion. With a fight like this, he can do that.
And he almost walked into that left hook.
That left hook is the punch for Mercer. There it is.
With the combination followed by the right.
Larry was trying to sucker punch Mercer. Mercer saw it.
Larry Holmes, is he talking to the Mercer fans in Mercer's corner? Or just talking to all the folks viewing? Holmes obviously watching Jimmy Connors in the U.S. Open.
It'd be great if they could talk back. What do you think they'd say if they could talk back? He's doing good. Larry Holmes is doing good. Ray Mercer is confused.
Holmes turned pro 19 years ago. Mercer's been only fighting for 8 years. When he was 22 years old, Army sergeant stationed in West Germany, his base coach asked him to spar with the Cam super heavyweight, and he told Mercer if he sparred, he'd waive a pending 30-day bivouac, a wilderness maneuver. And Mercer said anything to get out of bivouac. A month later, Mercer was the top big man on the camp boxing team. Of course, went on to win the Armed Forces Championship, swept through the Olympics with 4 straight knockouts to win the Olympic gold. And this is only his 19th professional fight. And a late bloomer is already 30 years old. takes punishment and keeps on ticking and finds a way to win in a dramatic fashion. But he may have a successful career, but with all his punishment, may be short-lived.
Watch the rope. Keep your eye on him. Keep your hands up.
He's just tired. I know.
I know he is. He's tired of it. His mouth is wide open.
Okay.
Give him a shot. Back him up with 2 jabs. Bing, 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 bing. Listen for it.
Things are heating up. The crowd really getting into this one. They didn't think this fight would still be going on here in the 7th round, but the former champ is surprising him and surprising Ray Mercer. This is a scheduled 12-rounder. It is a non-title fight. Mercer gave up his WBO title, passing up a mandatory defense against the #1 contender, Michael Moore. He felt that's a fight later down the road, a good matchup, but he wanted to get $1 million. He thought perhaps a quick and easy $1 million over former champ, the 42-year-old Larry Holmes.
And that right uppercut from Larry is doing a lot of damage. Right on the end of the nose with that punch. Now, they were telling Larry between rounds, they were saying, back up, Ray Mercer, back him up. You have to force him back. But he's doing so great going backwards himself, Larry, and so great in the ropes.
I'm going to get him.
Larry Holmes also playing to the camera. You know, Holmes went into this fight and said, who's Ray Mercer? He beat Tommy Morrison. Holmes feels Morrison couldn't fight. He was taking the distance by Timuel Odom. And Ozzy Ocasio was losing to Damiani when he came up with a big punch. That's how Holmes thought about this one. Even though Holmes may have had somewhat of a fantasy trying to recapture his youth, he's certainly not the fighter of his championship years.
But I tell you, he is picking up some fans here tonight. Good performance, but you cannot let down against a fighter like Ray Mercer. He has no quit in him.
Should Holmes be allowed to be holding on to the ropes as he has been?
That's not against the rules. What referees don't like you to do is use those ropes as leverage with one of your hands. Fighting back is Holmes. Mercer has got to get back to throwing some punches. Too many of these rounds are slipping by for Ray.
Holmes' idea was to perhaps out-jab and out-box Mercer, and he has even out-slugged Ray Mercer. Going into the later rounds, feeling that Mercer wouldn't be able to knock him out, and that Holmes would pile up enough points to win on decision.
Boom. That right hand is the same one that had done the damage throughout this fight.
And now some blood from the mouth of Mercer. Mercer is standing in front of Holmes. Holmes knew that Mercer would be there.
Mercer not one to move his head. He will take 4 punches to the face to get one of his own in, or to just get inside.
But he only needs one.
That's right.
Against Damiani, when he was behind, his corner was getting very concerned. Mercer said, don't worry, I'm going to catch him.
You know something, Al? These punches from Larry Holmes will add up. Finally, one of these shots will put Mercer down to the canvas.
The big crowd excited about this one. Our main event on USA's Tuesday Night Fights. 8th round action. Larry Holmes taking it to Ray Mercer. Holmes doing it with guile. He's doing it with guts.
And experience. Look at Mercer following Larry around just at the wrong distance to be at. Larry is using his jab and stepping around. This isn't taking much energy out of him. He's walking around this ring.
Mercer is past his moment of truth. And for Larry Holmes, this is where he has averaged his stoppage of fights. 37 knockouts for Holmes in his 53 victories. He has lost on 3 occasions. Twice to Michael Spinks in controversial decision fashion. And once in non-controversial knockout fashion to Mike Tyson. There's the jab snapped out by Holmes.
But with that Tyson fight, Al, he says that was coming off 16 months layoff. That's why he came into this fight with 5 fights under his belt. Larry Holmes made a big mistake, he admits, when he fought Mike Tyson. He just lost his championship. He lost the last 2 fights before Mike. He said Tyson caught him at the right time. But now, with problems, with Mike Tyson's problems, now Larry believes he can regain the heavyweight championship of the world.
Holmes' view of the heavyweight division, he says, look at Foreman gets $5 million for beating a guy named Jimmy Ellis, that we saw lose to Tony Willis a couple of weeks ago. Holmes feels, he says, hey, Holyfield's a light heavyweight. Razor Ruddock is a left hook, but he doesn't jab anymore. Riddick Bowe, just a tall guy with a jab, a front runner. And he says that's why he came back. He says the money is there. He feels the division is there. That again is Larry Holmes being quoted. Here's the left hook by Mercer.
The left hook, we have not seen enough of it from him.
Holmes is the 4-1 underdog in this fight. And he has maintained a high intensity and a very busy evening now through 8 rounds. You know, he got blasted in the 2 fights against the rotund Eddie Gonzalez and an unknown by the name of Art Card for not putting them out. But Larry Holmes was using that as an extensive sparring session. His problem was just going national TV with that. His first few fights out didn't look good, but he was getting the ring rust off. I mean, Tommy Morrison should have had a few fights like that before taking on Mercer.
That could be a call to keep some fighters off national television early. Larry Holmes jabbing, but a good left hook from merciless Ray Mercer. There it is, right at the end of the round.
4-round fight now.
Ray Mercer with that left hook. We have to see more of those from him. He is waiting too much for Larry to go. Larry to get off. There's a good right hand. The single punches are coming from Mercer, but Larry Holmes is the man doing the bulk of the damage. A lot of concern in the corner of Mercer. There are screaming instructions at him.
And some of his fans here ringside yelling into the corner, Ray, you're blowing it. Larry Holmes says he's going to fight Mercer until there's no more fight left in my body. And so far, he's living up to that. 8 rounds down. It's scheduled for 12.
And I tell you, you got to give a lot of credit to Larry Holmes. 42 years old, still up there fighting. He is going to be so sore tomorrow. He will hurt all up and down his body. His legs will hurt. Everything on his body.
He may quit even if he wins.
Tomorrow he'll go, oh, I don't want to do that again. There's a right hand by Mercer.
Mercer's never been down in a pro fight. Larry Holmes has been on the canvas, knocked down on 3 different fight occasions by Tyson. Also early in the career, came off the canvas twice to retain his championship against Ernie Shavers and Ronaldo Snipes.
Back when he was the best. Oh, he was so good and fought everyone, Larry Holmes did. His career, Cooney, Ken Norton, Leon Spinks, Carl the Truth Williams.
Well, he made 20 successful defenses over a 7-year reign. Only Joe Louis reigned longer as a heavyweight champ. And he beat 6 former and future world champs. Ali, of course, past his prime. Weaver, Burbick, Spinks, as in Leon, Bone Crusher Smith, Witherspoon.
Now, here's an opportunity for Mercer. Larry Holmes has hesitated for a moment. He sat down just for one moment. Oh, that woke him up. And look at Mercer moving now.
And Mercer, this
the first time we've seen him move.
Yeah, moving backwards.
That right hand did damage.
Up goes Mercer with a little right hand. Well, Larry Holmes not going exclusively to the jab. He said he was going to go in and slug it out with Mercer, but he has balanced his attack.
Boy, guts and determination.
There's the time remaining in the night. This is a scheduled 12-rounder. Now, originally, it was supposed to be a 10, but the 2 fighters agreed to go 12. I think think a 10 would have been more to the advantage of Holmes, who may have racked up some points on the board. 2 more rounds just gives Mercer 2 more rounds of an opportunity to get the shot in. And we just heard a chant. Larry Holmes has turned this crowd around. He was booed when he stepped into the ring, but the crowd chanting, Larry, Larry, here in the ninth. And the crowd with a cheer, and it's going for Larry Holmes. 9 rounds down. And the work goes on in the corner of Holmes.
Couple more like that.
Come on like that, we home. Don't get careless. Keep your hands up.
10's coming. 10's coming. We'll tell you. How you feel? All right, Larry?
Real great.
Come on, man. We got a 3-round fight. We back to the amateur days. Man, you're the champ out here, baby.
I gotta do it.
You go do it.
You're gonna do it?
No, God, you go do it.
Here is the right hand from Larry Holmes in that 9th round. That has been his best punch so far. He has been a great puncher late in a fight. He's not a good puncher early. He's not a George Foreman where he mauls over his opponent. He puts the right punch in the right place at the right time. That's where he's been great in his career.
And Holmes now more and more determined, sitting on the stool, talking to his corner,
saying, I got to do it, I got to do it, I got to do it.
he can feel it now. And you know, Mercer has to pick up the pace. Maybe Holmes has been waiting for the jab in the last 3 rounds to keep Mercer away.
Mercer's got to pick up the pace and put down the punches. 7-2, I've got it scored. Holmes way ahead, looking very impressive. He has outsmarted Ray Mercer. But there is no quit in Ray Mercer.
Remember, Mercer outboxed in every round behind on all cards against Francisco Damiani, but he won the WBO Heavyweight Championship, and it was in the 9th round. Mercer, one blow, broke the nose of Damiani and broke his heart. Holmes waiting back again. He said he's going to draw Mercer into the corner. He's had success in the corner. Why not go back to it? Mercer's corner yelling to their fighter to be first. Get off the blocks.
Staying at just the wrong distance with Larry Holmes. He either needs to move in with some punches or move out away from that danger zone. Or go to the angles.
Legendary trainer Eddie Foch said that Holmes in his prime, similar in a way to Muhammad Ali, the good jab, the good right hand, but he felt Holmes hit harder with the jab than Ali. Ali's jab kept you off balance. Holmes' jab was a real punch. The right of Holmes connects with Mercer, and again, and now blood from the nose of Ray Mercer. Down to 30 seconds, one more round coming to a close, and Holmes certainly doing enough to put some more points on the board.
Still jabbing, still moving his Holmes. Turning back the clock.
Or perhaps, as Holmes says, he's fighting a guy who's just made to order, whether it's Larry Holmes of 1982 or Larry Holmes of 1992.
To round number 11.
Take him to school these last 2 rounds.
1, 2.
You walked him good.
1, 2, and you're
Stay
dead.
out of that corner. Stay there in this corner.
Nearly 6 years ago in the second controversial fight with Spinks. 15-rounder last time Holmes has gone more than 10. Of course, the fight following that was the 4th-round knockout at the hands of Tyson, and then the 3-year retirement. And since that time in his 5 comeback fights. He's gone 10 rounds on a couple occasions, but he has now stepped in to round number 11. As far as Mercer is concerned, he has gone beyond 9 rounds only twice. And those were a couple of 10 and 12 rounders. Kimule Odom, who he defeated, and Bert Cooper, who he defeated in a war. Holmes knows whatever Mercer has left, he's going to see in the next 6 minutes. Knows he will be pressed. Well, at least figures he should be pressed.
He is pressing. Mercer is pressing Holmes, but he's pressing at the wrong distance and the wrong pace. Standing right in front of Holmes. Watch. All Larry has to do is take a half step back, throw that jab. Look at him. This is playing with Mercer. Now on the inside, watch him tie up Mercer. The referee breaks him. Larry Holmes playing with intelligence, playing with wisdom, experience.
Before the fight, Hank Johnson in the corner of Ray Mercer said he has great respect for Holmes, as does his fighter Mercer, but he thinks Holmes, who has 2 or 3 good fights left in him, took this fight against Mercer too soon. Well, it looks like he was right on one count, that Holmes has some good fights left in him. And Holmes has to feel he didn't take this fight soon enough. So Larry Holmes taking a different comeback route, not going 3 years as George Foreman did, but Holmes got back into play a little later in life.
Well, it is surprising to me, but Larry is putting on a great fight. Got him way ahead. I've only given 2 rounds to Ray Mercer.
Out to be an interesting scenario. The first fight, the former champ coming out of retirement, Jimmy Paul, takes out the rising undefeated fighter in Todd Foster, and now Larry Holmes has to feel if he goes another 3 minutes and 20 seconds, he may have duplicated that feat.
Maybe it's time for comebacks. You never know. You never know. Looks good. Now Ray Mercer is fighting out of desperation.
11 down. 1 to go. What's going to happen now in the corners as they get set for the 12th and final round?
We home free.
That's big ass in that round.
How you feel?
Beat that body
You got
down.
3 more
Beat
minutes
that
of
body down.
you got 3 more minutes of classicness in you.
Last one we touch him, Larry.
Keep that body down and shoot the... Keep his body down and shoot that right hand over it.
When he come in like that.
Are you the champ?
You're the champ. Move your head in front.
I know it.
I want you to fight. Come on, get a boy. You can do it. Keep putting out one bang bang.
So far to this point in his career, Ray Mercer has always found a way to win, even when he's been desperately behind, even when he's been beaten up. Before the fight, Ray Mercer said, if this one goes the distance, if Larry Holmes goes 12 rounds, and I can't take him out, I'll give the fight to him. It may not be Ray's choice.
My card, he's already given it to him. Holmes playing with the crowd, trying to win the crowd over. And you know what? He has won a lot of the crowd over. The boos started at the first of this fight, but now those boos have turned into cheers.
Several of those Holmes fight 15 rounds, so he certainly brings the experience into the final 3 minutes. Knows every way to hold on and get through this time. Mercer now measuring him. Mercer has to close in. Mercer, from our scorecard, needs the knockout. Again, has to come up with the dramatics.
But does Mercer have the experience to knock out an experienced Larry Holmes? Holmes knows he's way ahead. He'll know how to hold on opportunities had passed, and Mercer is desperate.
And again, some chance for Larry. Larry, the boos in the beginning were more from the Mercer fans. There's a partisan Mercer crowd. He's from Newark, New Jersey. We're in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And that's a reflection of the feeling of the crowd about the career of Larry Holmes. And Ray Mercer is running out of time.
And Holmes still looks fresh. He looks like the younger fighter of the two.
1 minute left, 60 seconds and counting.
Now here's the opportunity for Mercer. Got to get those hands moving.
Holmes started very quickly in the first few rounds. Thought that it might be a mistake. He would run out of gas. He hasn't. Holmes now screaming in the face of Mercer. And Holmes saving some. In the end, remember, he's reminded, don't get careless. You can never be saved by the bell in Atlantic City. No round. So Holmes can't get careless down to the last second.
In the final 10 seconds, you'll see Larry Holmes pour it on.
And Mercer
At the end of this fight,
Mercer has nothing left.
And Mercer's looking for the final bell.
Larry Holmes may have just pulled it off. His corner thinks so.
I think so.
He may think so. And Mercer, who remembered when Larry Holmes, then the champion of the world, fought Muhammad Ali. And then Ali come back. Ali certainly passed his prime. Holmes said he had hated every minute of that fight, once Ali's chief sparring partner. And now it was Mercer who came into this fight saying that he would end the career of his legendary hero, Larry Holmes.
And I'll bet you Mercer hated every round of this fight.
As it turned out. Well, we'll find out how exactly it turned out. We'll be back for the decision in just a moment.
Bill Newman scores the bout, 117 to 112. Eugene Grant scores the bout, 117 to 111. John Potteray has it, 115 to 113 for the winner by unanimous decision from Easton, Pennsylvania, the former heavyweight champion of the world,